You're listening to Lemon's Listening Library. Discover the story behind the stories with unique and raw conversations from the people who make your favorite books a reality. All right, everybody, welcome to Lemon's Listening Library. We are the podcast that shares the story behind the story. I am your host, Randy Lemons, and you may know me as RL Rose if you prefer the romance books. Today, I'm joined with my amazing co-host, Kathy. Kathy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, everybody. I'm Kathy Ireland. I am a book lover. I listen to my books primarily on audiobooks. So I delve into that world quite a bit. I do ALCs, the advanced listen copies for the audiobooks, the ARCs for the ebooks. I'm all over the place. If it's a book world, I'm there.
I love it. I love it. So also just a quick housekeeping note, we still have advertising spots for sale on our Patreon account. So if anyone is interested in having their book or their services advertised on the podcast, just head over to our Patreon and it's a great way to support the show as well. I am super excited about our guest today. Sage, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I am Sage RelleAnne, and I am pretty new into the Bookish community. I published my first book back in June, but it was definitely a long time coming. I live in the South, actually on the Gulf Coast in Florida, but I'm from New Orleans originally, and I've just been really excited getting to know everybody as I delve more into the book community.
Do you feel like it's been pretty welcoming so far, like getting to know
Oh my
your
gosh.
circle and stuff?
Yes, it's been crazy welcoming. I was really surprised because the internet's a very scary place. So it was really amazing. Like in the very beginning, I went on to a couple of different, like just groups, getting research knowledge, all that good stuff. And pretty much every single conversation or person that reached out to me was just more than happy to help me along the way and was very open and friendly.
That's pretty
Awesome.
common. I think that everybody in this community is very welcoming, and you just have to remember that there are great people behind the keyboards. Of course, there are the not so nice people, but for the majority, it's really good people behind the keyboards that are just wanting to delve into all of the different worlds.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I was just surprised just because I hadn't been in it at all. So just coming into it like that and everyone just being like, I can help you with this and this. I'm like, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like once you get that community underneath you, writing was the hard part. The community just says, hey, what do you need? How can I help you? If you make the right connections and stuff, if you get into the dark side of book talk and stuff and all that, it does get a little dramatic, but it's all about who you surround yourself with.
Yes, definitely. Very important.
So you began writing on Wattpad and Quizilla, right?
Oh yeah, Quizilla back in the day, which was a quiz website, by the way. I don't know if y'all know what Quizilla was, but yes, I used to write serial episodes on Quizilla way back in the day. I think my first book was called I Was Kidnapped at Today's School Lockdown by Vampires.
How old were you?
I was probably 11 or 12, and I was writing Why Choose before it had a name for it. Like, here are 9 vampires that you don't have to choose from.
So,
That's
how does
awesome.
that work? The Quizilla. You
Oh,
said
God.
it's a quiz. So, how does that work?
So the it was weird. It went away a while ago, so I don't remember it exactly. But it started out as a quiz spot, and then it turned into like a blog, and then it slowly turned into the quizzes would be your episodes, and then you would ask questions at the end, and that would be the quiz. It was really weird, and I'm probably describing it poorly because it has been like a while, but it was awesome, and it was very popular for a while until I think just randomly, I guess they got sold or something happened, and then we all jumped ship to Wattpad.
So was that
Which,
community, was that pre-Wattpad then?
yeah, it was they were probably both open around the same time, but it was before Wattpad got popular because I am in my late 20s, so this was like 17 years ago. So it was before Wattpad got popular. Quizzo was very popular, and that's where you could read all of the stuff, and fanfics and everything like that were on it too.
Like when you were because did you go to traditional school or did you go to school?
I did technically go to traditional school. My dad is a very hippie man and he likes to travel and move. So I went to probably in total 30 different schools growing up.
That's fair.
And
That's fair.
yeah.
My
So
question for that was like when you were in classes, were you dreaming up the stories in classes or where was your time that you came up with to think of what to write?
So weirdly, I'm actually a very like math sciencey person. So my classes were always very intense. So I didn't really have time to focus on that. But as soon as I got home from school, I would write at least like a chapter every couple days. I probably had 6 or 7 stories going on at once. And I just fell into that community because it was, again, very supportive even back then. And everyone was like, we want more chapters. And reading back, I'm like, why did you want more?
Because they
But
were other 11-year-olds and it just resonated
yeah,
with them.
yes, exactly. I found my people.
Yeah.
I have a question. Sage, do you think that since you moved around quite a lot, that writing those stories helped in the transition, and maybe if it was difficult to make friends as you kept moving, were those
It
essentially like your book friends?
It did. I honestly though, I'm a weird, like a very eclectic person, but I've always just gotten along well with people and I've been able to make friends, but it was really a good segue when making friends like, "Hey, I also write books on the side." And if they were cool, then they would like it, and if they weren't, then we wouldn't be friends. But it was really nice to have that community also though during the transitions of moving when I was between friends. So that was awesome to have, yeah.
Did you have friends, if they followed you on like your books and stuff like that, did they stick with you after you moved and keep in contact with them through your books?
That way, and also just like from what moving, I still have friends from back in elementary school just because I don't know, I like to stay in touch with people. I'm one of those people that checks on everyone and makes sure everyone's doing well in life. So I've just kept up with them, and they've been really excited to hear that I've officially published books now, and they've been so supportive. Like a lot of my friends have reached out. Some of them have been like, can you help me learn how to write? I want to get into poetry. They've asked me to like edit stuff. So it's been really cool to see how that's transitioned, like my personal. I've been trying to keep it separate, my personal and my like book life, but I do let like my closer friends and people over the years know that I do right now.
That's exciting. It always feels good whenever you have people who are like, she's where I want to be, or she's doing something I wish I could do.
It is. It's just a weird feeling to have because I just feel like I fell into this face first out of nowhere. So
It doesn't seem like it though. It seems like I get how the transition from writing on Wattpad to being an author can feel a little weird, but it seems like it was there for you from the beginning and that was your destiny.
it was, but I hadn't written on Wattpad probably in 12 years, 10 years, 12 years before I switched back a couple this year.
What
It
brought
was
you back?
a lot of stuff, but I really just couldn't sleep one night. I was like, I used to write a lot. I wrote a book when I was younger. I always enjoyed it. And I've been, I don't know, not to be like ridiculous, but I've been like a jellyfish just floating around, not really stumbling on anything, working a corporate job that like it's good, but it's not anything I'm passionate about. And back actually in September, I could not sleep. I was off for 3 days and I wrote 20,000 words of cutter strings, and I was like, this is something that people might want to read. And then I got really busy with work. We were short staffed. I took over like a branch. It was a crazy thing, basically. And I couldn't write again until January when I finally got an assistant at work. And then I finished the rest of it in the month of January. And I've told myself, I was like, I am going to publish this book for my birthday in June. I'm going to get it done. It's going to happen. This is my gift to myself. So that was, I think, what pushed me to finally just do it.
So that was your Cut Her Strings was your second one. Didn't Come to Bed, was that the first one?
Cutter Strings was the first one that came out.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it came out on my birthday in June 3rd. And then Come to Bed came out a month later. So yeah.
Okay.
And now, yeah.
So which one was the one that you thought up at the nighttime and you just had to get it on paper? Which one was that?
That was Cutter Strings. That was the first one, yeah, that I came up with. And then Come to Bed was like while I was waiting for Cutter Strings to be edited, I was like, I still want to write more words, but I don't want to write the sequel yet because I need to let it marinate. So I'm going to write something else entirely. And Come to Bed, the main character Izzy is pretty much me. All my friends are like, really, Sage, you wrote yourself a book. And I was like, she just has my personality. It's fine. And so when people are like, we love Izzy, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much.
That
But
means
yeah.
a deeper level to you now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, here, read this book, and if you like the main character, we can be friends.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, it works perfectly.
That's awesome. I feel like I asked this question to almost every author, Kathy, but did you have her go through things that you went through, or did you have her go through things that you wish you had gone through?
I think for Come to Bed or for both of them, really. For anything that I write, I want to write a very difficult situation that you can escape out of. I want to write something where you've been in that darkest part of your life, where you feel like that there is no way out, and I want to show you that there is pretty much what I write in all my books. Because I have been in that dark place. They're not like instances that I've gone through specifically, but it's just that generalization, especially when you're growing up and you're going through so much at once. You go into your 20s, you don't really know what to expect, and you think that there's no way to get out of it. You're never going to be happy. There's so many thoughts that go through a lot of people's minds. And I just want to show, like in Cutter Strings, it's very dark in the beginning, but as it progresses, she gets through it and it becomes better for her. And I just want to show that in all of my books that I write.
That's awesome. That's very inspiring, actually. That sentence that you said alone, that you want to put them into some of the roughest situations they can, and you want to show people that they can get out of it. That is beautiful. I think that's going to be your sticker for this episode.
And the jellyfish.
I know. I already wrote the jellyfish down.
Look, I am a marine science. I went to school for marine science for a while in biochemistry. So nudibranchs, jellyfish, remora are my 3 favorite things. Jellyfish, not as much, but they're pretty. But nudibranchs are beautiful. So if you don't know what those are, they're the sea slugs. They're colorful and they're rainbow colored, and I absolutely love them. They do also look like weens, but it's fine.
I just want to name a city Nudibranchs now. Like that, I've never heard that before, but that name is just very catchy. Like Nudibranchs.
Yeah, I love them.
Very much. Hey, Sage, I have a question. Was there like, you had mentioned that there was a pivotal, like a very specific pivotal moment that hit you that was so powerful that it was just like, you didn't really have a choice but to write about it. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, so it wasn't anything that I wrote about specifically, but the thing that did hit me, it was last year, and that's what made me start to realize that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And this is TW, trigger warning, hardcore. My mom tried to kill herself last year, unfortunately. And she's struggled with mental issues her whole life. She has paranoid schizophrenia. And she's gone off and on this over the years. And when that happened, it made me realize that what I'm doing, I wasn't happy. And I wanted to do something that would make me happy, because I needed to do more for myself and I needed to move through it. And I just needed something else to focus on too. And she is still alive, thankfully. She is still unfortunately going through it. But sorry, not going to cry. It's fine.
No,
You are
you're
good, girl.
fine.
You are good.
But no, that is probably what really pushed me to figure out something else. And then when the idea popped in my head, that is what brought it back to me. Is that I just wanted to, I was like, I did used to write. And the very first poem I ever wrote was actually about my mom when I was, I think, like 7 or 8 years old. And I'm writing a story kind of similar to that. It's not going to be a memoir or anything like that, but it is going to have that poem is going to be like the very beginning of it. So yeah, it was definitely very cathartic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that is definitely a mental health disorder that it is. I commend the kids of the people who have parents like that, or anyone who has anyone in their family dealing with that, and then them themselves. That is something that I don't think a lot of people realize the struggles that they go through.
No, it's definitely been, and I never really lived with my mom. My dad raised me, thankfully, for most of the time. So that was awesome that he was there to step up. But for those that do end up living with their parents that have that, it is like a daily struggle, because you don't know if the medication's going to work. You don't know what mindset they're in. You don't know who they are that day, because it can be different people every time. I'll get voicemails from her in different voices. It's definitely a very difficult thing to go through for everyone.
Thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that with us, because that's something that bringing that to light, of just letting those people know that there's other people out there who understand what they're going through, and it's tough. And when you're going through situations like that, it feels like you're normal, right? You just think this is normal for kids to have their parents who go through this kind of stuff, and just letting them know like they're doing the best they can. It's really not something they can control.
No, definitely not. It is definitely just difficult on all sides, unfortunately.
Yes, not to take away from how difficult it is for the kids going through it too.
Yeah. I love that your writing, even at a young age, gave you a sense of self and a sense of empowerment. And it seems, especially going with the white shoes genre, it really is very empowering to be in that situation. So I think that's really admirable to, I think that shows through.
Awesome. I'm not gonna cry. It's fine. I'm just here.
You're fine. We're going to go to I'm going to ask a different subject. It'll lighten it up a bit.
Okay.
So why choose? Like, what drew you to that? Because I love why choose. I think it's fun for it, but and is it just contemporary, or are you interested in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so why choose? Because honestly, at the end of the day, I am a very selfish person. It's fine. I can admit that. It's that. And it's also just like that you want to be liked and you want to have different things to represent what you need and you want to be built up by people. And it's just nice to have, even in this fantasy world, people that are basically just put you on this pedestal and different varieties of people that are there and support you in the different ways that you need it. Because each person has so many different varieties of life that they go through, and even in your own lifespan you're going to change over time. And I think it's cool to have different people like you meet over the years that join the harem. I do a lot of growing harems because of that. Right now I have dystopian, I have contemporary, I'm working on a fantasy that is on my back shelf right now. And then I also have a Sandman remake kind of thing that I've been working on. So I've been doing a wide variety and throwing all my ideas out there, but I'm trying to focus on getting the duet for this one finished. And then the sequel for this one is coming out next year. So I've been focusing on these two right now.
So you develop, so it's not just like you're telling stories, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you develop like whole worlds, correct? So it's not like you just take a character and then tell their story. You enjoy creating like their worlds too.
I really enjoy the suspense of books too. I love putting suspense in books. All of my books are going to make you feel a little anxious as you read them. You're going to be wondering what's about to happen because it seems like something might about to happen. And like this one is contemporary. It is technically in a modern world, but I am also creating her world in the own sense. Like I build up each character and I give them each their own background and everything like that. This one wasn't really, I challenged myself to write a book in 2 weeks, and that was what this one became. And I didn't really expect it to be this long. It was only supposed to be like 15,000 words. And then every single editor was like, Sage, you need to put more in this. So I was like, okay, you're right. She had more to tell. So now it's a duet. But I don't know. It's been really cool how that worked out.
Now, how is your experience as transitioning from Wattpad into publishing on Amazon?
So I went from Wattpad and then I did Kindle Vella back in January when I first started writing Cutter Strings, just to post each chapter there to make me, I'm looking for the word and I can't think of it. Where, yes, thank you.
That's a dirty word that we don't like to talk about. So that's why we forget the name of it.
I do too. So I used it to make me accountable. And then I people were reading it. And I was like, I guess I'll keep posting on here. And I did the same with Come to Bed. And then I just was like, I'm going to publish it. I didn't expect people to read my books. I thought I'd get like my friends, maybe to purchase a copy, probably not read it. And then I just delved so deep into the research of marketing and putting myself out there. And mind you, I am a broke girl. So my marketing was $0 budget friendly. My editing, I used my money from Kindle Vella so I could get editors, which was awesome. But I definitely was balling on a budget for sure.
Can you explain to us Kindle Vella and how that works for readers and authors?
So Kindle Vella is a serial book platform like Wattpad. The first 10 episodes are free, and then anything after that like costs tokens. And I have no rhyme or reason of how you get them, but there are bonuses that the Zon pays out monthly. No idea how those work because I'll have the lowest like chapter reads and the highest bonus. But it's decent. It's enough to pay for editing after a couple months if you market yourself. And there are a lot of groups and stuff on Facebook. And that's what I, again, did a lot of research to figure it out. I'm a research kind of girl. I like graphs and charts and notes and statistics. So I did a lot of that. And then once you publish on there, you can actually mark it complete. And I think it's either 60 or 90 days, don't quote me, that you can then publish your full book on Amazon, even under Kindle Unlimited. They let you do that, which is really cool.
Yeah, so because there's some kind of clause that they have in there where you can't do it. And they it deterred a lot of people because they're like, no, I want to turn this into a book. But then if you read further, it's just that you can't do it for so many days.
Exactly. And then there's also, you can't do it in the reverse. So if you've already published the book, you can't then turn around and put it on Vella. but you can go forward with it. And I like Kindle Vella because I think it's awesome to just basically build up, if they're completely different readers for the most part. I'll get a few crossover, but you're going to get completely different readers for the most part for Vella than you would for Kindle Unlimited. I've had a lot of people say, why are you doing both? You're just gonna, it's the same people. And I'm like, it's not though. So far, I've seen a lot of different people. Like I used to read on Wattpad, but I never read on like regular books. So it's definitely different, I think.
That's fair. That's a good point too.
And you get like instant feedback. Am I understand? I've seen a couple of the Vellas and like people are commenting as you go.
Yeah.
So you get instant feedback, correct?
You do. Yeah, and you can add polls to the end to see what people are interested in. It's honestly, I don't want to give it too much amazingness because I think it's crazy the way they do their bonus. But I will say I think it's pretty cool to post on there just to get the feedback. And you might not get a million viewers right away, but for the few that you get, it's pretty cool when they comment and they're like, oh, I want this, I like this, or they leave the poll to tell you who they're the most interested in. I think it's pretty cool just to have that before you even publish the book, because I think it'll give you like that inspiration you need. Because for me, at least, I get inspired by my readers. That's what makes me write a lot. So it definitely helps me be inspired to see, even on Kindle Vella, when people are like, I'm ready for the next chapter.
Yeah, that is definitely a buzz that I noticed too. Like I love whenever my betas go through and read my stuff and they're like commenting on it, and it is just a charge that you do not get anywhere else when your readers are like, oh, I love this character, or oh, I really hate this character, or just any of it. The feedback is just great.
Yes, it is. I love it. It's honestly, the readers have been crazy amazing because I am not a very social media girl before this. I posted occasionally. All my pages were on private. Like I was not one of those posters a lot. And now I post every day. And I have a lot of conversations with readers, and it has been amazing. Some of them will reach out via email, Facebook, Instagram. And I have to say, I appreciate every single one of them because they have been so sweet and kind and just always, I'm ready for the next one. I'm like, I know, me too. It'll come soon.
You do really good. I've seen your posts. I'm sorry, Randy.
No, you're fine.
I've seen your TikTok posts, and you do put a lot of effort and a lot of thought into them. So I can see how that would definitely generate some interaction for you there.
And that's something we've realized with doing this, just these couple podcasts, is the romance community is on it. Like they are so tight knit. I love it.
They are. It's awesome. I really do like it. Yeah. And TikTok was hard to get into. I honestly love Instagram the most, I think, right now, and Facebook is great. I have a group that I have all my readers in, and it's really cool just to like post like snippets and stuff like that and just talk to everyone in there. It feels more like tight knit, and like getting to have that open communication with everyone is really cool too.
Now, whenever you go from Vella to published, does your book look drastically different or just a little bit different because you do go through the editing process before it's published? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everyone does it a little differently, and this might be a faux pas, but mine's going to look drastically different. I get developmentally edited after that. Yeah, just because of my background is not in writing at all. I took my last grammar class was probably a long time ago, and I've read grammar books because I can do that, but dialogue grammar, that is very hard to learn.
The rules are different for dialogue.
They're crazy, and I've done my best to learn them, but I will definitely miss some. So my books on Kindle Vella, they will be drastically different. Yeah, I think Cutter Strings gained about 20,000 words, and Come to Bed gained about 15,000.
Yeah, girl, I'm the same. Editors, thank you. We bow down to you because my dyslexic ass, I write the sentences backwards. I write the words backwards. We thank you.
Yes, definitely. I would not have made it without the editors. Thank you.
So that brings up a lot of imposter syndrome though, right? Like whenever especially when we don't have a writer's background, being a published author and then being like, oh yeah, I can't spell restaurant.
Yeah. Definitely the imposter syndrome hit the most right before publishing Cutter Strings. I had a panic, and it was my birthday the next day. And also the day of release. I was like, and also this is just a piece of advice. Don't take it if you don't want to, but maybe don't release your first book on your birthday. It was a great present to myself, but the anxiety was high. So I was in analysis paralysis all day on my birthday, just sitting like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then the next day comes and you're like, oh, I beat myself up for nothing.
Yes, exactly. I was like, okay, everything's fine. We're all good here. And then I was like, you know what? I'll move up my other book's release. Why not? It's fine. I make bad decisions. I like to act irrationally and do things like in the spur of the moment. That's how I get everything done.
Okay, I have to know, do you have ADHD or ADD?
I don't know. My dad is a hippie and did not take me to the doctor very much growing up. He
You're
has
fine.
it.
It just made me think of ADD people work so much better when there's high stakes and there's a lot of high pressure. That's why so many people they don't study for the test till the night before.
Oh, that is me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just made me think of, oh, this girl's got ADD or ADHD.
I probably do. I like to study the day of the test, like an hour before. That way I can remember all of it.
Oh, girl. Let me just do some self-diagnosis here for you.
Yes,
I'm
thank
just
you.
kidding.
Both my parents are diagnosed with it, so it would make sense. I think that's a genetic thing. I don't know.
That's funny.
But yeah.
Speaking on birthdays, today is also Kathy's birthday. So when we air this, it's not going to be Kathy's birthday, but we're just going to say happy birthday, Kathy.
I appreciate that. I was going to ask you, Sage, what books do you read? So when Sage is reading a book, she's not writing. What do you read?
Unfortunately, since I started writing, I have not really read much. But last year, I read over, I think, 200 books, and I read Dark Wide Shoes. The occasional lighter, fluffier. I love C.M. Stunick. I'm probably saying her name wrong. I'm sorry. She is amazing. She is one of my favorite authors. Gillian West is amazing. I love Alex Liddell, Charlie Nottingham, a bunch of Dark Wide Shoes authors, which are like low key some inspiration. Like as I'm reading their books, I'm like, this is so good. I want to make something this good, or at least try to get close. But I really like CM Stunick too because she makes posts about how you can be a writer. And I watched it. I had already started writing Cutter Strings when I watched it. But I was like, I just love the inspiration of this, like just showing other people that they can do it. And I've had people reach out to me that also write on Wattpad, and they're like, how did you make the jump? And I'm like, it's not really how I did. I was like, I just decided one day that I would. And I ignored the voices in my head saying I wasn't going to be good enough, that it wasn't going to be great. And I just went for it because at the end of the day, if everyone else in the world hates it, I did it for myself. And now I'm happy and I've completed one of my goals. So we can check that off the bucket list.
I love that. And that's something, me personally, I aspire to inspire other people. That is a driving factor for me. And I love that's something that you enjoy as well.
And that transitions to not just writers. That is a message that can go out to everybody.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's just not just writers. So I think that's a super positive message to put out there.
Definitely. And in a lot of my jobs, I become like the trainer, the teacher. I do that in all my roles. And I find like the best inspiration to teach people is basically letting them know that they are going to do this. It's going to be fine. You've got this. And they're like, we're making mistakes. I'm like, yes, everybody makes mistakes in the beginning. But at some point or another, you are going to get to a point where you look at me and you're going to be like, I'm doing this better than you are. And I'm like, yes, you are. And that is amazing, but you're going to get there. But nobody starts. Some people, I'm sure, start amazing, but for the most part, everybody has to start somewhere.
It's true. Yeah.
Even like CN Student, she has 100 books or something like that, and she has spoken about it, how like amazing her steps have been, like as she's published more and more. Now she has a very popular series, and now all of her books are popular because of it. So I feel like once you start somewhere, that's all that matters, and then you can work on from there.
And what you were doing too, when you were reading the Why Choose books and then being inspired by their writing, that's actually something that they recommend you do when writing is go and read someone who has a bestseller book or everyone's raving about and see their structure, see how they write things, see how they put their characters through stuff. And then it's literally research. It's not like you're copy and pasting anything. It's inspiring by.
Exactly.
But that's important.
Yeah, no, and it was awesome. Just, it did give a lot of inspiration. Also, the tropes. I'm like, what do I like as tropes? Do I like the enemies to lovers, the second chance? And all my books are going to have all the tropes that I like.
Which are?
Again, I write, there's a lot, but I love second chance, enemies to lovers, obviously Why Choose. I do like the breeding kink. I like, let's see, age gap, definitely, if it's done right. I don't like anyone under 18 in age gap, though, please, for me at least. And then, yeah, those are the main ones I would say that I really enjoy. And I just like to write the situations that I would enjoy reading about. Because, again, at the end of the day, I wrote these books for myself to start with. Now it's for everybody else, and I really love that people like them. But at the very beginning, I was writing it just because I wanted to read that book. I think a lot of writers do, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That is exactly what I wrote. That is my first book that I wrote. I was like, if I were to take this piece of this world and this piece of this world and this piece of this world, and I were to mash them all together, what would I get?
Yes, exactly.
Yep. I think we write what we want to read. We are literally just readers who are impatient with someone to write the story.
I think you're right.
Like, no one's written it yet. All right, I guess I got to get to work.
Yes. I've always wanted like a dark, spicy Hunger Games. So that's why I wrote Cutter Strings. I was like, I need this to be spicier for me. And I need a little bit more gore. And I want there to be like games they're playing.
Which I feel like is why fan fiction goes and does as good as it does, is because it's literally the readers who are writing what they wish they could read.
Yes, definitely. No, I completely agree. I have not read fan fiction in a while either. I want to go back to that at some point. But
yeah, and so many good books come out of it. Like, they just change the story a little bit, they change the names, and then they publish it.
Please.
I love that. Her Day to Die. That is the book that involves a journey through grief. And tell us a little bit about that book.
That book starts with Sunday, who's the main character. She finds out that both her brother and her boyfriend, her first love, have died. So it follows Sunday in the journey of figuring out that she is alone and that she feels nothing's going to get better. She feels stuck in her grief. And then she meets the brothers of the man that she loved, and they just keep showing up in her life, and they won't leave her be. And they're basically there whenever she needs them and forcing their way into her life. It's a mystery, suspense, very dark romance. But it's hard to explain without spoiling it, to be honest. I have found.
That's fair. And Her Day to Die, this is the new one coming out. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, this one is releasing in September. Let me see. I think I got some art done for it. And this is Sunday. Axel is the one in the jacket. And then Darius is the one standing next to her with an arm over her shoulder. And then Grayson, this is an age gap. He's 26, she is 18. And he is like their protector overall. And he's standing off to the side by himself. I think this book is my favorite. I know you aren't supposed to say that, I think, but this was my favorite to write and also my favorite to reread. Because you reread it a million times when you're editing.
That's what I was going to say. So I find that I cannot reread my books until I have put them down as enjoyment. If I'm editing, it's got to be like months after I'm done editing before I can reread them.
Yeah, and that's like with the sequels, why I didn't want to write them right away, because I wouldn't enjoy it as much. Because I want to reread the first book before I write the sequel. And like Cutter Strings, I loved this book. I enjoyed it so much writing it. I enjoyed the first reread, the second reread. But by the third one, when I was editing, I was starting to really question if I ever wanted to look at it again. And finally, it's better now, but it took a while to get back to it.
Yeah, that can be rough. And that's hard, especially whenever you have multiple run-throughs or it's a big series like a book series or a fantasy world or anything. I personally am like, I am just done. I'm done. I can't read this book anymore. And then you let it sit for a while and then you come back and it's almost like, who wrote this book? This person is genius.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I decided, I was like, first off, I was going to write one book and be done. But then I'm like, nope, this has to be a sequel. And then I'm like, nope, I need another series. And I'm like, nope, here's another series. So writing a bunch of books at once has really helped, because I was writing Cutter Strings. I was still editing Cutter Strings, writing Come to Bed, and writing Her Day to Die all at the same time. Because Her Day to Die, I started back in March. And I put it down for a while, but I was actually on a work trip in Huntsville at the Space Center. This book has the Space Center in it. And I was like, I turned to my husband, I'm like, baby, it was like 8 a.m. We're in the hotel. I wake him up, I'm like, I have an idea.
Crazy how it always comes. Were you trying to go to sleep?
I was trying to go back to sleep, yeah.
That's how both of my storylines have come to me. I'm like laying there, close my eyes, trying to go to sleep. And then all of a sudden, what if this character did this? And what if they were in this situation? I was like, oh my God, where's my phone? I need to write these notes down.
I write everything in my bed now. I write on my phone in bed so much because of this now. But I was like, this book, why? And then I text my dad because my dad he is also low-key my most inspirational thing. I know this is going to seem a little faux pas, but he reads all of my books. I put some blackout on them for him, but he reads all of my books.
I'm gonna take this scene out.
Yes, I'm like, we'll take this out and this out, but he's just so supportive on it, and he is just excited that I am publishing everything, and he's been probably the most supportive. In Cutter Strings, when I was feeling that imposter syndrome, he was like, no, you need to keep doing this. Just, you're almost done. You got this.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, so he gets all my ideas first, so he'll be the first to know about all my books as they come.
So he's also going to listen to this episode and be one of our new followers.
Yes, he will. He loves podcasts, so he's very excited about this.
So I have a question for you, Sage. In your harems, are they strictly male, female, or is there a male within them? How do your dynamics work in that, and how do you come about?
So right now, for all the series that I have actively, they're all going to just be MF. I'm not going to have any MM. And again, that goes back to the selfishness of I like the female to have all of the attention. So when I've read MM and I like it, like I have no hate or anything towards it. I think it's really awesome. I like to read it, but this is what my preference is for writing, and it's easier to write for me too. Because I do a weird thing in my books that not everybody likes, and I write first person for my female characters, and then everybody else goes in third person. And it has been, some people have absolutely loved it. Some people have questioned everything, but I love it. That's my favorite way to write. So it's unfortunately going to be how I continue writing always.
If you're getting good feedback on that and you're like the people who are like, hey, I love this, then you've got something going, girl. Keep it going.
Yes, and I put like a warning in the front now. I'm like, just a heads up, I will always write in first and third person. First person gets the girl because she is the main person on this, and then everyone else goes in third person. And it works well for the suspense aspect of my books, which is really why I started doing it, because I have a lot of characters that you don't know their backgrounds, but I still want to go from their point of view. But I don't want to give too much away.
That's awesome. Yeah. And what I love is that a lot of this stuff and the way that you sound like you're writing your characters is that you can show them and you've lived it. Shit can suck. Stuff can suck and it's not good. But then you show that there is this inspirational journey. It might not look inspirational when you're in it, but when you look back at it, you're like, damn, that girl kicked ass.
Exactly. I really want to write at some point a more timid female character, but right now pretty much all my characters are just going to be like that badass take no shit characters that kind of, but they don't do it like in a I'm badass, I take no shit. They do it more in a way of like their actions are going to show that they are going to try and stand on their own feet. They're going to try and take care of themselves, and they're going to be that way. But I did try to make one of them more of a meat character, and it just did not work out well for me.
I do that you said that though, because I was just reading a book the other day and I was like, man, I feel like this character is telling me that they're badass. And they just keep saying it in their mind. You can hear them saying, I'm not going to take no shit. But then they're like, they're taking some shit.
You're like, ma'am, I think that you need to listen to your thoughts here, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. My characters
that.
do not think that they're badass. They all think that they suck. And not suck. They all think that there's something wrong with them. And they just do. It's their actions, really, that comes through, I think, to show that they're more badass. But yeah.
And it sounds like the other characters are there telling them that they're wrong.
Yeah, basically. They're like, actually, what you just said was incorrect. So we're going to move on from there. Thank you.
I love that.
I am wondering if are you looking at getting any of these put into audiobooks? Is that something that you want to do, or
Come to Bed is actually already getting recorded. I'm really bad at like releasing things. You know how you're supposed to do like cover reveals and all those things. So yeah, Come to Bed is getting recorded. I think it's going to be done around December. It's being recorded by an author friend of mine who also does narration, SK Prince. She writes very dark, like romance, but I am very excited that she's narrating it. It's going to be with her and her husband are narrating it together.
Exciting.
Oh, that is spicy.
Yes, I'm so excited. Yes, I love her voice. I love her narration. So I'm very excited. It should be done around December. I was going to do Cutter Strings first, but I think that Come to Bed is just going to be an easier to do Audible because all the numbers in Cutter Strings might be a little bit confusing. So I'll have to circle back to that eventually.
So if they end up having a baby about 9 months after they get done recording your book, you know why.
I will take no blame for that.
I should put in the waiver. I'm not responsible for any upkeep of any offspring that might be procreated after or during reading this or narrating this book.
Yes, exactly. Let me just add that real quick.
Actually, I need to go revise my contract.
1 second, y'all. I'll be right back.
It just made me think of those shirts that came out after the 50 Shades of Grey, Christian Baby, or
oh my gosh,
yes. Grey Baby.
Yes.
Oh,
that's funny.
That's gracious.
When you, oh wait, hang on. Oh, my computer just glitched. Was it your dad that took you to Burning Man? I totally wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, so actually my parents were both still together for the first year I went. So I was 5 and I went with both my parents to Burning Man. And then the second year they were not really together. I was 6 and my dad took me. And I went with my brother too when I was 6. He didn't go the first year. I did, but he's older too, but it's fine. It was a lot of fun. I still have very vivid memories, even as young as I was, of like all the different cool stuff. I remember like the dust storms too. It was crazy, but that is just the epitome of my parents right there. Shows their style. I grew up on a sailboat, so we traveled up and down the coast of Florida for the first couple of years. And then we settled in New Orleans and I went to Burning Man and it counted as school credit because that's how New Orleans works.
Did you get school credit just for going, or did you have to write an essay on it or anything?
I was in elementary school, so they basically marked it as excused absences and then it counted as an art credit each year that I went.
That is beautiful.
I was like, thanks, guys.
I think New Orleans completely is like a different world because they're out of school for Mardi Gras. We were out of school for a month national holiday for Louisiana.
Yeah, we would be out of school for a very long period of time. It felt like it was a month. It could not have been that long, but it felt like that long when I was younger, that I would just be out of school and then we'd come back on, I think probably a couple days after Ash Wednesday, and be just like everything's normal. And I thought that was normal until I moved to a different state. I was like, oh, so y'all don't just get off for Mardi Gras? Y'all don't just go to the parades in the middle of the day and you don't do the Mardi Gras cake at work? Okay.
Yeah, no, the king cake, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm, the king cake. Mm-hmm. And yep. Good times.
I feel like all schools need to implement something like that to have your children more cultured and to have them out in the world actually experiencing things is more important than math. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I feel like all schools should do something cool like that. Maybe not to the degree that we did then, but still, and maybe not Burning Man, but something in between.
There's a balance. And maybe math is a little important.
Maybe you can do math while you're out. It's fine.
That's true. Like, we're talking to the wrong person to skip math day.
Yeah, like how much did they profit off of it? Based off how many people attended something, they can figure it out.
Yes. See, that sounds fun. I would love that.
You mentioned that you are following in the footsteps of your aunt despite being advised against it. Is she an author or is she a writer?
No, she was one of the first female truck drivers. So it's not exactly the same, but basically she did something that in our family was, and also all around, she was advised that she wasn't going to do well in it. And everyone, anytime I've been like, I want to be a writer, they're like, you're not going to make money off that. You're not going to make a living. And she was told the exact same thing, where she was basically told not to do that. And she kept going with whatever she wanted to do, which I definitely aspire to just obviously be financially responsible. I'm not going to just quit my job and hope for the best, but I do at some point. I have a plan where hopefully in the next couple of years, I'll get to a point where I can be a full-time writer. And that's I guess everyone's probably goal, but I definitely am working towards it. And I'm trying to put in the effort for it. I'm trying to put in the time, the energy, and everything for it. But yeah, no, she definitely was very inspirational with what she did when she was definitely told not to, and that she would not make a living or be able to do it.
That's awesome. Now, do you have a place in mind when you are a full-time author and you're famous and everyone knows your name? Do you have a place in mind where you're like, I would go there to write? That's the place I would go to just to write my books.
It's crazy because not really, but I've tossed around the idea with my husband of doing like a cross-country train. but I'd have to make sure I can write and I wouldn't get sick. But I feel like that would be pretty cool just to sit on the train, maybe not even here, maybe in a different country, cross country, like in England or not England, I guess all of Europe it would be. But I don't know, somewhere do a cross country train. I feel like that'd be cool. Get like a little cart and stay there for a couple days.
I love that.
What are your top 3 bucket list places that you would like to go in the United States and then out of country?
Okay, so I'm going to start out of country first. South Korea, Japan, and probably Iceland.
Ooh,
and
Ooh.
I am a weeb also at heart. I'm an anime, manhwa, manga nerd.
let's see if you can even.
Yes.
Oh, there's somebody. I was like, where are the faces at?
Yes, my husband has a bleach tattoo, so it's fine.
Ooh, nice.
I don't have any anime yet. I just have BMO and another one from a cartoon. But in the United States, I am probably like Washington and maybe like Niagara Falls. I'm a water girl, so I'm pretty content where I'm at. I love going to the Keys. That's one of my favorites. My dad used to take us down there with no money and a boat, and he'd find an island and we'd just like crash on it for a couple days. Anyways, yeah.
I do love that. Sometimes our best childhood memories are when our parents were completely broke or didn't have a lot of money, but they were making the best out of the situation.
Yes. And that was definitely him. Hurricane Ivan, we lived like right directly where that hit. And that's why we moved down to South Florida. And he had a sailboat at the time that was, that we had growing up, and it got washed away. So instead they got him a small boat. So we used that instead, and we would go out all the time. We had very little money, but we would just go boating all of the time. And we would sometimes take it to the Keys and just find an island. There's a few there you can camp on without, probably 1 or 2 you can camp on without being bothered. And it was like a really fun vacation. But looking back, I'm like, I remember we had 3 cans of soup for the week. I'm like, what? And then fish.
I was just going to ask if y'all fished.
Yes. Fishing was the food. And then he would bring like a few cans of ravioli.
Okay, but still, dad goals. Oh my God, he created great memories for you guys.
He did. He definitely did. I've got some crazy ones. It started with Burning Man, and it's worked its way since then.
And what's great is he's not even trying to top himself. It's just happening naturally.
Yeah, he's just, this is what I want to do. Let's do it together.
Do you feel like you took on your dad's personality with that? I'm just going to live the life how I want, and what happens?
To an extent, but I'm also, I love him to death. He is so financially irresponsible. And I am the exact opposite. I live the life I want to as long as I have myself taken care of. I make sure everything is taken care of, paid for. I have my ish together. No matter what, I want to make sure that there's a roof over my head, my AC doesn't get shut off, and there's water pouring out of my drink. I love him, but I like to prioritize those things over the going out and having fun and going on random adventures. I still do the random adventures, but I do them like within reason, and I find a way to make them more budget friendly too for me. It's been good. But like my husband and I, we worked in mortgage back in 2020. So we went on our first ever vacation together, and we came back and we both lost our jobs. So we've been picking it up since then. Yeah. But because I was like stable enough, we actually were okay from that. But definitely crazy back then.
I have another question for you. Have you done or are you planning on doing any book conventions?
I am actually. My first one is going to be in New Orleans at the Get Witchy With It in 2025. I just felt like I should, that's where I'm from. So I was like, I should do my first one here. I can stay with my brother, make it very minimal costly. So yes, I am doing that one in 2025. I'm trying to get an author friend to join me at a table. So once I do, we'll release that. But I'm hoping she'll be next to me at a table. So that would be really awesome.
I will see you there then, because I actually just found out I was going to promote the podcast and stuff. Yeah, I'll see you there. That's exciting.
Hey, that's going to be the first time I show everyone my face.
Oh, cool.
Yes, that's going to be awesome though. I will be there for Sunday, but I'll probably end up showing up Saturday too, just to see everyone. Because someone that I'm doing an anthology with is actually going to be there on Saturday, I think. So it'll be cool to meet her too.
Fun.
That's exciting. I'm a little nervous because I've never been to one before, but also I'm so excited because That is something that's like a bucket list of mine, is just going to all these different book conventions and stuff. And I did not realize how many there were out there.
Oh my gosh, same. But this one I scoped out because it was in New Orleans. I'm like, I need this to be the one. And then they like sent me back an email and they're like, yes. And I'm like, thank you. It was really awesome. But no, that's going to be cool. It'll be nice to meet you there officially.
So that's your first one that you're doing. And yes, that's what you said. Okay. That's exciting.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yes. It'll be a whole new, I've been to one and it was an eye-opening experience. These mostly ladies, there are men that go too, but mostly ladies that go, like, these people are friends. And so it's like an exciting time for them to get to see each other in person and then get the autographs of the authors that they love and that they support. But it's super fun and it's lovely people. It's such nice people that go to those things. So cool. It'll be a great experience.
And I love hearing you talk about them, Kathy. I'm like, I need to do this now. Well, that'll be so fun, Sage. I'm going to feel so much better knowing that there's more than just one person I know there.
Did we lose her?
Oh, we did. That's okay.
We lost her. Okay.
I can totally fix this and act like we didn't.
Yep.
Oh, you know what might be happening? This happens sometimes, is if you get a phone call while you're on Zoom, it shuts off everything.
Oh, yeah.
I returned to y'all. Hello.
You're good.
Can you hear me? I don't know what happened. Probably my internet decided to go out.
Did you get a phone call? Sometimes that just makes everything go away.
So it's on a tablet. So I hope maybe like the message. I don't know. It hates me. It's fine. I'm sorry.
In Florida?
Say that one more time.
You're in Florida?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
South Florida? Because we've been getting a lot of rain. I'm in Tampa and it's
I'm in Pensacola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when Ivan hit. That's where I was at. And right before that or after that, we went to New Orleans for a little bit, and then Katrina hit. The hurricanes follow me. Yeah, did y'all get hit by that most recent one?
You're talking about Debbie that just came through? Yeah. We were on the dirty side, and so we got some rain and wind, but nothing. It seems like here in Tampa that doesn't really hit us.
I'm going to knock on wood for you.
Yeah, it scoots usually a little bit north and then comes up more towards Gainesville and then up into Pensacola, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. I was in Naples for a while, like off and on. We moved around there a lot and we didn't really get hit by any storms there. So yeah. I was like, is this just the safe area?
I lived in Houston for 17 years, and so I've been through so many hurricanes and tropical storms and just regular freaking rainstorms in Texas can do more damage than a tropical storm or hurricane. So
So what are you doing for your birthday after this, by the way? Do you have any good plans?
No, actually.
She did all her partying this morning.
What was that?
I said, you did all your partying this morning.
I did. I got up and I went and there's this place that has glazed croissants here. And
that sounds good. That's what I miss about South Florida is I'm obsessed with croissants, French food, and also the Cuban food. I need a good cafe con leche, and we just do not have it here, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, there's tons of Cuban food here.
I know.
This place is so good. And my son, his birthday is tomorrow. And so we have almost always spent our birthdays together, but he is in California visiting my daughters right now. So we went and had our birthday early before he left last week. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that is really cool. I share a birthday with my godmother, and she and I used to try and do something whenever I saw her. We would take a ride on the streetcar together. So it was fun.
How fun.
Yeah, that's exciting. Sage, thank you so much. You're amazing. This was a great podcast. And I honestly, I feel like I was just talking to a friend the whole time. So I love that you're just chill and Yes,
y'all have also been amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And I definitely look forward to meeting you in New Orleans. So I will probably message you when it gets closer and be like, hello.
Yes. Now let's recap with just telling everyone where they can get your book, where they can follow you, and how they can connect with you.
Okay. Hi. You can get both my books right now are on Amazon. I have a few more up for pre-order also on Amazon. I don't have an official website yet. That's on the list of to-dos. I am on all of the social media, not all, but I'm on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, all of it's under my first and last name, Sage RelleAnne. So that together, Sage RelleAnne, is what you're going to find me on pretty much all of that. And if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, TikTok, Instagram, wherever, like I said, I love getting messages.
That's exciting. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in not Orlando. Oh my gosh.
I guess Orlando too now. So.
Now we got to find another convention there.
Yes.
And then I can go to that one too.
Oh yeah, it's right down the road from you. But I look forward to seeing you at the place that I have the name is completely gone. Wow.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
For the witchy convention, witchy and something.
Yes,
convention.
get witchy with it.
Wow. Oh, I'm so good at
I got
this.
you.
Thank you,
got
girl.
this. Y'all helped me out earlier, so I understand.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Lemon's Listening Podcast. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on this episode of Lemon's Listening Library. Remember, every story has a journey, and every journey deserves to be heard. Keep reading, keep writing, and keep listening.